Hello, students, and welcome back. So, in Going Places, we've gotten to know Sophie, a dreamer who loves to create these grand fantasies. You'll remember she even made up a story about meeting the famous footballer Danny Casey. Well, in this final part, we're going to see the consequences of that imagination as it starts to unravel and turn into fear, anxiety, and ultimately, a whole lot of disappointment.
Before we jump in, I want you to just think about this question for a moment. What is the true cost of a lie? It's a simple question, but it's really at the heart of this entire chapter. By the end, Sophie's story is going to give us a pretty powerful answer.
So here's our roadmap. We're going to follow Sophie's journey through these 5 stages. We'll start with how her little secret suddenly isn't a secret anymore and see exactly what happens when her fantasy world collides with the real world.
Okay, let's dive into our first section. Sophie's lie about meeting Danny Casey. Well, it's no longer just a private daydream. The cat's out of the bag. Her brother Joff let it slip, and now her friend Jancy knows all about it.
And what's really fascinating is the immediate conflict this creates. You see, for Sophie, this wasn't just a lie, it was this special, secret world she had built. But for her friend Jancy, who's much more practical, it's just another one of Sophie's wild stories. Jancy knows her friend, and she can tell something is off. This is really the first big clash between Sophie's fantasy and cold, hard reality.
The moment Jancy confronts her, Sophie just panics. And I want you to notice what she's worried about. It's not about hurting her friend's feelings. No, her fears are all about the consequences, the embarrassment, her dad getting angry, the whole neighborhood finding out. That lie is already creating so much pressure.
And who does she blame? Not herself for making up the story in the first place, but her brother for sharing it. This quote tells us so much. It shows that, in Sophie's mind, this fantasy was meant to be a special bond, a secret just between her and Jeff. It was never supposed to escape into the real world.
So, here's a crucial point to remember, students. Sophie's anxiety isn't really caused by Jancy or Jeff. It's a direct result of the lies she told. The moment you create a lie, you automatically create the fear of it being discovered.
Let's move on. The conflict now shifts. It's not just an external argument with Jancy anymore. It becomes an internal battle happening right inside Sophie's own head.
Sophie is now completely trapped in this prison of her own overthinking. She's not enjoying the fantasy anymore, is she? Now she's just constantly calculating, trying to protect the lie, trying to keep it all from falling apart. Every single question sends her mind racing.
She does get this tiny moment of relief when she realizes Jeff didn't tell Jancy the second, even bigger part of her lie, the part about having an actual date with Danny Casey. This just shows you how deep and complex her fantasy has really become.
And here we see a really key idea: self-deception. Sophie actually starts to believe her own lies. She tells herself that the only reason Jeff kept the date a secret is because he must believe in her, when we, as readers, know he's actually very doubtful. She's choosing to believe a version of the truth that simply makes her feel better.
And now we come to the most powerful and maybe the saddest scene in the entire story. Sophie takes her fantasy out of her head and brings it into the real world. She actually goes to wait for Danny Casey.
Think about the place she chooses. It's not some busy, public place. It's a quiet, secluded spot by a canal. The symbolism here is really strong. It's a place of loneliness, of escape, the perfect setting for a secret meeting that is only ever going to happen in her imagination.
This timeline really captures her emotional journey while she waits. It all starts with so much hope and excitement. She's actively imagining him arriving. But as time ticks by and that bench stays empty, you can feel that hope slowly start to sour into doubt. This line from the book, this is the absolute peak of her daydreaming. She's so lost in this fantasy that she is literally seeing him and feeling the excitement of his arrival, even though there's no one there. It's like she's become both the director and the only audience member in her own private movie. And this, right here, is the turning point. As we move to this next section, we're going to see how this beautiful, elaborate dream completely shatters against the hard wall of reality.
After all that waiting, all that imagining, this is the simple, crushing truth. He was not going to come, because the meeting was never real to begin with. This is the exact moment the illusion finally breaks.
Her emotional breakdown is so telling. Of course she feels disappointment, but look how quickly her focus shifts. Her main worry isn't really her own sadness. It's about what other people will think.
Her biggest problem now becomes, what am I going to tell everyone?
And this is the most crucial point of all. Her deepest pain isn't from a broken heart, it's from her inability to prove her fantasy to others. She is more devastated that her story has been exposed as a lie than she is about a missed date. The real burden she feels is the weight of her broken story.
So, this brings us to our final section, the central message of this story. What is the ultimate lesson we should take away from Sophie's experience?
What Sophie is doing is a classic example of something called escapism. She uses these elaborate daydreams to escape the boring reality of her life and the fact that she'll probably end up working in a biscuit factory. But dreaming, when there's no action behind it, doesn't lead to escape. It just becomes another kind of prison.
And this slide explains that difference perfectly. The story is not saying that dreaming is bad, of course not. Look at the left side. Healthy dreaming inspires us. It motivates us to work hard. The tragedy of Sophie, on the right, isn't that she has dreams. It's that she lives only in her dreams, without making any effort to achieve them. Her dreams become a replacement for reality, not an inspiration for it.
All right, so for your exam revision, these are the key points to lock in. Make sure you understand how Sophie's lie created that cycle of fear. Remember that the canal scene is the ultimate clash between imagination and reality. And most importantly, really grasp the theme that pure escapism, without any action, just leads to disappointment and a heavy emotional burden.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Sophie's story is really a cautionary tale that forces all of us to ask ourselves a question. Are our dreams supported by effort, or are they just a form of imagination we use to escape? It's a really important question to think about. If this explanation helped you understand the chapter better, do like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel @The Ace Archive for more such Class 12 English content. Thank you for watching.